A new law in California, you're going to want to hear about this, gives illegal immigrant students increased access to financial aid from private funds, not public funds. Supporters hope to expand it all to all student aid, so public funds as well, and eventually take it nationwide. But critics say it denies American citizens access to scarce resources at a time of rising tuition costs and a weak economy. So what should be done? I'll talk to a supporter of the California Dream Act in a moment, but first let's hear from Congressman Steve King, Republican from Iowa, that is, who says we cannot go down that path. Congressman, welcome.
Well, thanks very much for having me on, Jerry.
All right, so tell me why you oppose this idea.
Well, first I would say it doesn't necessarily deny citizens, but it makes them compete with illegals for these scarce scholarship funds. But the central principle on all of this is the rule of law. And people that would be, if you ask ICE to deliver the scholarship, they would be compelled to deport them rather than give them a free college education. And the other thing that makes it wrong is, at some point, there will be these students who would otherwise be deported sitting in a classroom next to the widow or the widower of someone who has given their life defending our liberty in a place like Iraq or Afghanistan and is required to pay even out-of-state tuition, where an in-state California resident gets free tuition. And the inequity of it is just, it is so bad, and no one has been able to answer that for me. What do you say to that widow or widower when they're sitting in the desk next to somebody that would otherwise be deported?
But
and these scarce resources.
Congressman, I mean, we're already partway down that road, because now in California what we do is we offer in-state tuition to some illegal immigrant students. So if you're doing that, why wouldn't you offer private funds, not public dollars, to the same students?
Well, they've already, and because of the inequity that I said, California's policy is wrong. It violates federal law. They've just tried to find a way to redefine and slide their way around it. And I know it's been litigated, but also the advocates for this bill that makes access of the private funds available to illegal students are now saying they want to also expand it into public funds. And if you look at what's happened, the federal government said that you shall provide health care services, at least emergency health care services for illegals. You shall educate illegal children in our K through 12 schools. Now we're looking at free tuition for Californians who are illegal immigrants in California, and private scholarship funds, now calling for more public funds as part of that. This is the incremental effort to provide all of the rights to citizenship to people that have broken the law. There are 50 million people around the planet waiting in line to come into the United States legally, and we're rewarding lawbreakers. When you do that, you get more lawbreakers, Jerry.
All right, Congressman King, thanks for helping us out.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. And now, here in favor of the California Dream Act, Alex Nowrasteh, policy analyst at the Competitive Enterprise Institute. Thanks for joining us. Tell us why you do like this law. Why does this law make sense?
Well, this law is a fundamental strike, I think, at some of the worst laws in our country's history, and that is our immigration laws. They are fundamentally anti-capitalist and anti-free market. To give you just one example, the unemployment rate in the United States is above 9%, and immigrants in the United States are 25% more likely to start a business and be self-employed than native-born Americans. What we need right now, I think, is more of these hard-working people to come out of the black market, to come out of the shadows, and to be able to start a business legally without pernicious government regulations like our immigration laws. And I just want to say to one point that Representative King said, he said all of the DREAM Act supporters support government payments of tuition for undocumented immigrants. That's not true. I am one who automatically and across the board opposes all government support for anybody, native-born Americans and undocumented immigrants, to get education benefits. But the good parts about this bill shouldn't massively outweigh the negative parts about this bill.
Well, you say that the law doesn't even go far enough as it is. You want to take it further. How?
Well, I think that people who are not criminals, who are healthy, who are peaceful people, should not have to wait in line 50 years to try and get a green card to come into the United States, even if they can. For the vast majority of people who want to come into the United States, there is no line. The line that Representative King mentioned, that's a myth of the anti-immigrant caucus in this country, that there is a way to come into the United States. We have this myth. Our ancestors came in legally because there was a way for them to come in legally. And I want to go back to that free market ideal, that ideal that was founded upon in the United States.
Okay. Alex, thanks for helping us out today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.